Welcome, everybody. It is so glad to see you. I am glad to have you on this episode today. Welcome to Alien's Joy. This is going to be a great episode. I have a guest. I have my friend as a guest. We just do things together. We do events together, summits, talk, and we're going to have a great time. Welcome to Alien's Joy. As I said, we're here weekly to bring you joy, bring you information, bring you great tips, help you with life, help you through life when it gets difficult, and just give you some great stories. So I am glad to be here. I'm very, very happy to introduce my guest, Charla Anderson, today to you. Charla is one of these people that we're on the same page, that lives off joy. And joy is a lifestyle for her. Unconditional love is her message. And a great mindset is her method, right? We definitely want to go into that. Charla is a mom, a nana, and a 30-year award-winning flight attendant. So that's a big deal, because we all might have said hi to Charla in the past. If you're living right here in Texas or where else, everywhere, Charla flew. And right now also a best-selling author, and also with a new book coming up. So very exciting. Charla is a speaker. We do summits together. We do fun things together. She is a life coach, Ziglar certified life coach, and also has her own show and TV podcast. So this is a great thing. I also want to talk about what you told me about your Olympic torchbearer story, right? And I love to have you on. Thank you so much for being here today, my outrageously courageous and outrageously optimistic friend. Welcome, Charla Anderson.
Oh, Alien, thank you so much. What a fun pleasure and fun introduction. Yes, outrageously optimistic, outrageously courageous,
Yes.
award-winning flight attendant. And what does that really mean, right? I mean, people go,
what does that mean? Tell me about it. What was that?
So I was with Delta, and I love my job. It was my mission field. The people were my people, right? And I didn't sit at home wanting to get out of the house, but when I was there, that I loved my job, and I loved the people. And an award. So when the Olympic torch for the Salt Lake City Olympics, Delta was the official airline, and we got to nominate people that we thought would be worthy of carrying the torch, right? So I was nominated, and ultimately I was chosen to be one of 100 employees out of, I don't know, 80,000 to get to carry the Olympic torch for the Salt Lake City Olympics. I carried it in Vail, Colorado, and it was freezing, but my torch is hanging on the wall right behind my screen here. I still have it. You are allowed to purchase your torch, right? So how can you not?
Yes.
How can you not?
Fun. Oh, congratulations.
And then there's another award. So I say award winning. I would have just said probably torch bearing, but the same criteria is for every year. They have an annual chairman's club, and I was nominated and received the Chairman's Club Award. So that
very
top 100 employees of the 2005, I think, what year it was.
Oh, amazing. And very well deserved, because I know you carried your job with love and getting to know people also, right? What a great way of getting knowledge about people, being in that business and traveling for so long. And so ultimately that led you to retiring, but you're not retired ever. You're not going to retire ever.
I ain't quitting.
Keep running around, and you became an amazing life coach with Ziglar. So that was because you loved working with people. Where did that start? How did you get the idea to help people?
I don't know. My mama said, leave things better than you found them, leave the world a better place. And I've always been a people person. I love when you said this about your show, Alien's Joy, and that joy is my lifestyle. And when I was young, I had no idea, and my parents had no idea, that actually my name is charlar in Spanish. It means to chat. And in 2012, on my birthday, November 30th, I walked into my pastor's office, and it was so profound. I remember the moment that just to visit, and he said, "I just realized that your name is a derivative of joy in Greek."
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I was like, my signature was always choose joy. I had had a dog named Joy. I had had a split-second moment of transformation from bitterness to joy in 2007. I remember that too. And my name means joy. I was really just floored, and it's
Meant to
kind of a
be.
fun story when, you know, like, okay, my parents didn't know, my named after my Aunt Charlene, they who knew
Yeah.
that, it had those special meanings, and I was so shy as a child, who knew that I even, you know, should chat in Spanish, you know, that I
Wow.
wasn't one and, as a child, so, anyway, it turned out to be prophetic in many ways.
Yes, that is amazing. I love that story. And I love that it's in your name. So now you really represent chatting with joy. The
I
joy
do.
chat, right? That is just totally you. And it's really, really you and what you bring to people as well. So I love hearing you and listening to you. I want to hear I want to hear go back to, and then Ziegler, right? Where did that come in and where did you go? Like, this is just what I need to do. I want to help people.
If most people in our generation and would know,
Yeah.
Zig Ziglar was the epitome of motivation, and See You at the Top was his most famous book. He wrote, I don't know, 30 or 40. And he has from very early in his career there, they every Monday morning at 7 or 7:30, I think 7:30 on in Dallas, they were having a a little gathering for 30 minutes to just start the week off right.
Yeah.
I started going to those. They're open to anyone, and I started to going to them while I was still flying, and got to know Tom and Julie and Cindy Ziegler and the kids. But Zig was still alive, and I got to be there. And he always had this, whatever whenever he met you, he'd say, "Have you written your book yet? Have you
Mhm.
written your book yet?"
Oh,
And so
wow.
I
Yes. Yes, yes,
I
yes.
started. You know, I wasn't writing a book at the time, but I his legacy is huge, and then Tom and Julie and Cindy were trying to determine how to expand that legacy and
Yeah.
continue it. They started this Ziegler Legacy Certified training, and I was in one of the first 100 to be able to, uh, go through that, and
Oh,
it was a
super.
huge blessing. I think that was 2014. I wasn't flying, but I think it was 2014 that, the end that I went through that program and became part of the family, because once you do it, you're in the family.
You're
And
in.
it
Yes.
it's a very, very special training because it's intimate. There's only 20, 20 people or so in the class, and it was amazing.
It is such a, oh, it's a great story. And it's also so good that you were one of the first ones there, right? And listening to him. And who doesn't know Ziegler in our business? I mean, I of course do and love to read and listen to things that he said and the wisdom, because it's it's us self-development, right? Constantly what
Personal development, and it's
development.
universal truths. It's all universal truths, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's nothing that I can share with others. It is not like those little wonderful nuggets. So I love that as well. And then you became an author, and there's just 3 books behind you. So I definitely that little wonderful. I say little because you gave me the gift of the little candy bear hugs right there in that wonderful, amazing book. So I want to tell my audience and all listeners, go get that book for the Christmas days as a little gift to somebody else. It makes
Stocking
a great
stuffers.
gift.
It's really
Stocking
it's on Amazon, it's 5.55 for this little hard tiny book that I self-published almost 6 years ago,
stuff.
and then we relaunched it in the hardback this July, and it became bestseller on Amazon. And so candy bar hugs, it doesn't take much to make a difference. And through the Ziegler Corporation, I met Michelle Prince, several amazing people, but book-bound workshops I went to with Michelle Prince. And in my book, it says, I want to be like her when I grow up. I just love her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And so
yeah.
she's, so I had this idea for a book, but it was a big project. It was kind of a heavy project that I was thinking about. And I was like, and she has what she calls a business card book. And I thought, I want to make something small. And literally, this is my, if you're a guy, just put it in the bathroom. It's a 25-minute read. And all the women laugh and the guys go, huh?
Yeah.
But it's on Audible. It's 25 minutes. And so, it doesn't take much, but it's got a powerful impact. The stories in it. I started buying candy bars for the checkout people at Kroger's and Walmart, and instead of, for the big bucks people behind me that I don't go there anyway, but I feel like the person in front of you is the one that probably needs the most help. And then when you buy offer a candy bar, and then I would, what's your favorite candy bar? And then I would say, do you mind if I give you a hug? And so stories came out about that. And when, the COVID, we went through this last couple of years, and elbow bumps just aren't the same as
Oh,
hugs, I
yeah.
promise you, but the candy bars still work. And, so it just came out of, I don't know, somewhere.
Amazing minds.
It
It
just
came
came.
out of your amazing, creative, and loving and kind minds, because otherwise you can give so much love, you can share so much. And just the story of being what happens to me if I'm in line somewhere, even the drive-through with Starbucks, and somebody in front of me paid for my coffee or pass it forwards, right? Then
It's
my
a pay it forward type of book. It
Yes.
really is. And it's just
Yeah.
encouraging people. And I will say, I gave it to someone. I give it away most of the time. You can buy it on Amazon, but when I'm in with you, if it feels right, I typically offer it. And I gave it to some people at an event not too long ago, and I got a text the next day, and she said, I read the stove repair guide chapter, which is not about candy bars, but it's about paying it forward and hugs. And she said she had read it to her friend, that they had conflict.
Yeah.
And she said the girl was stunned, and she just felt like it changed her life. So little things, it doesn't take much to make a difference. And I promise you, we're in a Twitter sized world, or X now, whatever, but it takes a real reader that wants to delve into something else. But a great stocking stuffer, I'm telling you, is a good one.
Yes, I'm going to tell my audience again, everybody listen, buy it now on Amazon, buy 10, 20 for your whole family. Because whatever we can do to make the world a better place, to pass it forward indeed, get little nuggets of wisdom. And that's what we do it for. I mean, I coach, you help people, you write, I write, to make people feel better and to give them a virtual hug. I like in person better too. I agree. So that COVID was hard for me. We're now so used to doing all this on Zoom, right? But I mean, to feel somebody, I always say on stage, I'm glad I'm here live, because I want to see you and smell you and feel you, right? In a sense of just that little human touch and that little thing that we can do. It's all about that. And now we're used to the virtual world, so it's great that we can spread our love wider. But in the book, you can definitely feel that candy bar hug coming to you, right? So that's wonderful. Tell me about your other projects. So there's another one, big one in the making here. I'm so excited, and I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there with the launch
Be
party.
there, be square. Yes.
Yes.
So my second book that has been evolving for quite some time, I finally like, no, I'm pushing the button, and I'm launching it on my 70th birthday on November 30th this year. Split second transformation: change your words, change your life. 31 daily practices. So it's small chapters. I hope it's one of those dog ear that you read over and over and over again to remind yourself that every word matters. Every word matters. We need to claim what we want, not what we don't want. And there's some pretty simple things that you already know as reminders, some chapters, and some of them are kind of thought-provoking, I'm going to guess, to give you some hints on how to speak what you want, how to use your words in a way that just makes a difference and lifts instead of, we're inundated we're inundated with negativity.
Yes.
And if I can give one word of advice, don't watch it. Don't turn that screen off.
Turn it off. Yeah. Turn it off.
Don't listen to that negative. It's not necessarily reality. It's what they want you to hear, perhaps. And so if it's negative, to me, it's like we've got love and we've got fear. Those are opposites, love and fear. One is of good and one is of not so good. And so if your pendulum is swinging on the side of fear, you want to just step back and watch it. And I know people say, well, that's just not reality. I'm like, it's my reality.
Yeah.
I don't live in fear. Who I am, who I say I am, and that will lead to the next book then, who I say I am, and I've said for many years, who I am is bold faith, no fear. Who I am is bold faith, no fear. It was flippant. I was just saying it. I don't know why I started saying it.
Yeah.
But I started saying it about me.
Yeah.
And outrageously courageous, bold faith, no fear, step towards the gun.
Yeah.
Is the third book. It'll probably be out in the spring. Because I did. I had a gun at my head. Give me your purse, give me your keys, a gun right here. And I had zero fear when I stepped towards them and said, y'all need love. And they ran. So that story will be in that book. But honestly, it's the no fear part that's the story. But people, oh, you must have, oh, that's so scary. I'm like, no, because every word you say after the words I am is who you are.
Is who you are. Absolutely.
It is. And if you say it over and over, it is who you become.
Yes.
So when you say I am bold faith, no fear, and you get tested.
That was a test. Yes.
You get tested, and I don't encourage to get that kind of a test, but I got that kind of a test and I had no fear. Now my friend was with me and she thought I was going to be a chalk mark, and I'm stepping towards this gun and they did shoot the gun. This is part of the story. They did I was in Tennessee, and they shot the gun as they left. And when the police found the shell, I was kind of just in a giddy world right then. It was kind of bizarre, but I was like, so I went to the policeman. I said,
courageous. Yes.
I said, was it a 9mm? I'm from Texas. And so, and you live in, a little town called Gun Barrel, right? So it's kind of, we're from Texas, but, so I was able to keep my, sense of protection, because I know that I pray around my car. I was on a 6-week trek around the country at that time, living from my car, not in it, but just kind of moving around. And it would have been much worse had I given up my purse and keys. And my thought was, I win either way. Hey, Jesus, or so. I mean, I think that was kind of my thought. And when you pray the Psalms 91 shield of protection around you, every protection promise in one chapter. And this isn't religion. This is just, creator source that protects us and loves us. And if you're, so if you pray that around yourself and your family, or just say thank you. I just say thank you for the shield of protection. And it's just gratitude is, if you never say anything but thank you, it's probably enough. That's the best prayer ever. That thank you for your shield of protection. And so I believe that I had that as well. It's almost like I felt angels around in that moment.
Yes. Charla, it's an amazing story. It really is an amazing story. And I mean, good friends would say whatever the heck got into you that day, but it's such a big story of where you knew where you were at that place. You knew who you were, and you were what you were verbalizing to yourself, right? And this is so big, because that's what I talk about all the time, the power of words in your book. Constantly, what are we telling ourselves and what are we telling the world about us or about them? And of course, what are we communicating and how are we doing it? Words and the verbalizing the truth is so important. And I love the fact that you wrote about that and put it in a 30-day we can use it as repetition. Repetition is huge. I always say I need repetition all the time because that's how I learn. I need to over and over just reinforce it and really become it, right? I compare that to sometimes I compare that to the early days in church when I was just there and listening, but not really listening, instead of getting that moment where you start internalizing, understanding, and hearing the truth, right? It's such a different thing. But the repetition was huge in that, because then ultimately you come to that place of internalizing and feeling it. So thank you for writing that book. And it comes out, well, Split Second Transformation comes out in November the 30th.
November the 30th. I'm having a
Okay.
70th birthday party on that day.
You look
at
way too young, by the way. I gotta say that, to be 17.
I'm way too old to be this young. I mean, way too young to be this old. I'll say that. But I did earn every one of these silver hairs
Good.
the hard way.
Yay.
So, local barbecue place called Back 40 Barbecue, Thursday afternoon on November 30th, between I think 4, 5, and 8, or 4 and 8, or something like that. We're still working the details, and so we're gonna have, it's got a little bar, and it's got great barbecue, and I'll set up a book signing table. That's going to be one. And then I have a friend that's offered to have that owns T&P Tavern in downtown Fort Worth at the that beautiful old building I lived in for a couple of years, and on the lofts. And at the T&P Tavern, my friends Joanne and Nate Weber own that, and then my friend Mary Margaret Davis, who's my dear, but bestie, that I actually met her there when she was selling those condos. And we're going to have that Saturday afternoon, December 2nd, probably from 4 to 7, something like that. It's just going to be casual and fun, and book signing, and probably music. Probably have valet parking, or better yet, ride the train, because it's right at the train station in Fort Worth.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Fabulous. Well, I hope to be there for at least one of these big events, because I'm so proud of you, and you're fabulous. You look fabulous. We all look young as we want to, and as young as we think in our minds. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And the third book that's the story of stepping into courageousness, stepping into that gun, stepping into the bullet, in a sense of story-wise. What other stories can you tell about the book that is about outrageously courageous?
Well, the week before I finished writing this book, I was house sitting the week before I got robbed at gunpoint. I was on that 6 weeks trek. I sat for my sister in the hill country of Texas for about a month, and I finished writing the book. And I was creating and trying to name my coaching program or whatever. And I named it Charla's Outrageously Courageous Life Mentoring System. I think something like that. I haven't used it, but that's where I was playing with. 1 week later, so I had said I am bold, faith, no fear. And then I say I'm outrageously courageous. And the reason I was saying that is because here in my mid-60s, I had just picked up and moved and got, doing all this crazy stuff. I was like, I'm outrageously courageous. Well, so on that note, I can prove not only am I bold, faith, no fear, I'm outrageously courageous. And had just named my stuff that. So I find that kind of one of those intriguing opportunities. So and all these things, by the way, my most famous or favorite saying probably is, when intriguing opportunities present themselves and you say yes, things show up. So it draws it to you. So saying yes and stepping towards the gun, stepping towards things, bring good things to you most of the time. So that's just another side message there. But so then we've got the 2 books. So this book is coming out, but we're going to have a celebration and a party. It's going to be, who knows? It's just starting to come together, but I'm excited about that.
I'm so proud of you, because it's just, we have to start all over again. Like you have this long, and we celebrate your career, right? When you were flying and there was so much to it, you were busy and raising the kids and all that. And then what you have done I always say with the new life, right? Because it's just kind of like really exciting, but also that's why I love it so much that you kept telling yourself, I'm courageous, right? I am bold, faith, no fear. I love that. But telling ourselves that constantly as well, not to fall into some kind of like, I'm retired now and I'm just going to sit down and, of course, do fun things, but you really felt the need to do something forward and to step up for yourself as well, to come into that place of courage, right?
I'm
And
not slowing down at all.
no.
Therefore, so after I retired, actually, it was interesting. I was living at the TMP Lofts and I found um, I ended up having my own radio show, and it was a 2 hour a week talk show. And I was, my name means to chat. I can talk, So I started uh, having a show for a while, a couple of years back and forth, and then I ended up having guests. But and then I've had my TV show. So in 2018, I ended up having my own TV show called The Yes Lady with Charla A.
I love that too.
And then, and then I also assisted. I actually was very instrumental with the America's Real Deal TV show. They filmed their first episode, their first part in the stockyards in Fort Worth, and I was very involved in all that. So all that was in 2018. 2019, I kind of slowed down a little bit, stepped back. 2020, just a little bit, and then that happened. So
and so
this year, 2023, I'm like, I ain't stopping. I'm regrouping. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to finish my books. I'm going to, and then when women showed up in my life, when women, and my show is called The Charla Anderson Show, Collector and Connector of Fascinating People, and everyone is fascinating.
And I love that. I love your title, your subtitle of the show as well. Tell me what the previous podcast experience, or what was it about, the previous shows that you ran? Was it also nuggets of life, wisdom, guests, stories? Yeah, sharing.
Just loving people. See, when I started my first radio, it was like the Charla A show. And then somewhere along the line, I got a word that I need to change it to Charla Awakened. I was like, Charla Awakened, huh? And my friend said, what about awakening? I was like, no, it's awakened. And then I got 3 days later, for such a time as this, Charla Awakened for such a time as this. And this was back in 2015. So my thought at the time was, love people exactly who and where they are. Love them where they are. And love them through these unsteady times. Now, I thought 2015 was unsteady times. But it was a precursor. So for such a time as this is the story of Esther, that she's, just stood firm and in her, whether she faced death in order to save her people. So that was just, I don't know, it just kind of came to me, and that's where I was. And when I was creating a new business card a couple of, I guess 4 or 5 years ago now, that's where I don't know that you can probably see this, but Charla, the Charla Anderson Collector and Connector of Fascinating People.
I love,
and that just kind of came, and it stuck with me. Some people think it's too long or whatever, but I have long names of my books and my shows. I don't know.
The long names are fine. Yeah, it doesn't always have to be the standard of what everybody else does. No. And I love that. I love the title, Connector and Collector of Fascinating People, because everybody is fascinating.
And that's what I say. And on my show, I say, especially you, because everyone is. There's no one that doesn't have stories. There's no one that doesn't have something to offer. And in this book, I came up with, the harder they are to love, the more they need it. So everyone deserves love. But often they don't love themselves enough to really be able to receive it. And
Absolutely.
when we can offer them love anyway, it doesn't. And my other saying in here, I love sayings, and
Yeah.
actually having 70 days to 70, and today I think is 34, but it's a
I've
hashtag
been
70 days
following
to
you.
70 on Facebook, and I'm making a little saying memes each day. But one of them is unconditional love, unconditional forgiveness, not unconditional boundaries.
Yes.
And so I never would say unconditional love and be abused. That's not it.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
it does, if you can walk in that, loving people exactly who
Open
and where
heart.
they are. And even it may have to be, may you be blessed, may you be blessed, may you be blessed. If you can just bless without the angst and the anger and
Restrictions, expectations. Yes. Yes. I
just
call
love
that
them.
an
And when
open
they're
heart.
hard to love, understand bullies. I mean, bullies are hard to love, so maybe they didn't learn to love themselves enough, right? So it's not that we take abuse, but we can see them in a different light.
I love that so much. It's so true. I call that, open hearts, heart, right? Just be ready for whatever to come without judgment, because we are so inclined in this society, and it only gets worse. That's why don't watch TV, go there, don't look. Um, hate and difficulty and blame and name calling and finger pointing, right? If those become the norm, then where are we going to go? So it's up to us to just push the borders and our boundaries and just open it up for love and keep saying that. And that's really truly what I believe in. If we keep saying that and love everybody to where they're coming in, where they're at, and listen to the story first. So many people, as you said, have a story. So many people are also afraid to share their story because they think it's not important enough or it doesn't do anything. And so I was in that place years ago to where I was like, why should I write my story? But if one person is coming back at me and said, I changed so much for me, or I loved what you wrote about this, or this meant so much to me. Yes, thank you. And Charlotte holding my book up. Yes, 60 miles from Neiman's. But yeah, if there's just one story there that touches somebody's heart, and we have a tendency to look at everything, our brain goes to the negative. Right. And that's what you were just saying. Our brain tends to go a little bit to the story of the two wolves. Which one are you going to feed? Right. We're just going, eh. And so it's so important to listen to that love and to give love and to listen to your own story, how important it is for everybody else.
And it's a muscle. So often it literally, if you listen to someone who complains a lot, they don't see it in themselves, but all they see is complaining. And literally they've proven it it's like digging a rut in your brain that gets deeper and deeper every time you complain. And it can be changed, but only you can do it. So,
Be willing to
but being the awareness of it is where it starts, right? You have to want to look and have my one sisters, used to call me, oh, you're Pollyanna. You only see the bright. Well,
yeah, I'm Pollyanna.
I feel like I have a happier life, right? Than
Yeah, yeah.
complaining about things and things I can't change for certainly. So just it's a muscle though, and you find a way. You wear a rubber band,
Brain,
and every
brain.
time you think a negative thing, just go cancel. I'm going to choose.
Yeah.
I'm going to choose this word instead of that word. And I mean, if you want to practice, this is something an example in my little book, my split second book, whichever it is. The example is, I usually say, when you say I'm tired, so many people are, I'm so tired, I'm just tired, I'm exhausted, I'm so, but saying it, every word
Thank
matters.
you.
So saying it is not going to make you less tired. If you need to be, if you're really tired and you can go to bed, that's
Yeah.
one thing. But if you can't do that and you're just exhausted, what if you shifted your word to, I don't know, maybe I'm refreshed, I'm
I feel good.
energized, I'm pumped. And physically, do you change? I would say yes, but I can't prove that for you, but I would think, physically your energy changes, and but you're not being reality. Well,
Oh, I'm
but it
so
is it's my reality. I choose to be energized. I choose to be pumped. I choose to change my words, because every word matters.
I am so glad you brought that up. So there's two so amazing, profound things that you just said. The first one that I always experienced as well, I was Pollyanna, right? So always like, yeah, the glass is half full instead of half empty, or, the other way around. What was it? But thinking that way, I wanted to think positive, acknowledge my thoughts, going to the bad side, change them around, be aware of it. I can change it, and I choose to do so. The thing that you just said is so profound, because what was putting me down ultimately was that people gave me that feedback that Pollyannas were also a little bit silly and a little bit blonde and really couldn't be taken serious because they were not standing in reality, right? But it was my reality that I wanted to change things into a positive way, and I had the power to do so, and I became more and more aware of it, which of course took practice. Just for you, right? I mean, 20 years later of development and self-development and reading and doing the work, gotta do the work. But to not be labeled as that comes with somebody who is just kind of out there, right? Kind of blonde Barbie moment, like, yeah, maybe, right? So Polly, no, it's a choice, and it's a good thing to see yourself that way and go from that perspective. And it has nothing to do with not always being realistic, because is being realistic living in the doomsday forever? No.
And you watch people terrified, sitting in the corner of their couch waiting for the world to end. Let me just say, if the world ends in 2 weeks or 2 months, 2 days, and I do not want to have spent my last 2 weeks sitting on watching CNN
Yeah.
on in fear, right? I don't. I want to. I want to see how many people I can touch and love and have skin, contact. How can we make a difference, and how many people's lives can we encourage? And I will, if we both going to die anyway. Who's going to have had a better life in those moments? So if you consider just making a difference wherever you are. My mama said, leave things better than you found them. Why not? Why not just pick something up,
Yeah.
just love on this is something that has evolved over the years, but just even as small as, wiping up the sinks, taking carts, back, plugging, little things like that you are doing in order to raise the vibration of the planet right here with your small acts of kindness that nobody may ever see. Wiping the sink. Oh, like I said, wipe the sink, but just leave in a hotel room. I'm not going to make the bed. I want them to change it, but I am not going to leave them stuff all over the places. I
Yeah.
mean, you've walked off airplanes and going, I know they walked down the aisle with trash bags about 10 times, right?
Yeah.
Why is it such a mess? It's just a thought, just something, food for thought. No judgment. I don't, do what you do, but
No,
that I don't. Do you see that little
very
bits
good
that we
point.
there's a little piece of trash. Oh my gosh. Is it going to
Oh
hurt
yeah,
you to
you
bend
do.
over? I didn't do it. It's not my job. Well,
Yeah. Yes.
somebody,
And that is
if
where we are.
another, this is the deal. If another human being on this planet has to clean up after your mess,
Why?
yeah. So make it, can you imagine? I do this all the time when I'm in a hotel. I'm like, she's going to walk in here and go, wow, did they even, I just try to use one trash can. I mean, it's
I'm
silly
the same way. Yeah.
if you do it to an extreme, but if your thought is always, how can I make how can I make a difference? How can I make a difference? That's my thought. How can I leave the world a better place? And no matter where you go, it's small, but it's huge.
It's huge. Absolutely. Leave it better than you found it. Absolutely. And I do the same way. It's a little neurotic too, but I want them to come in and almost it looks like untouched by me in that hotel room, right? It looks good. And I'm the same way. It's just not for anybody else to clean up my mess. It's my responsibility. And on top of that, if you teach people that, even starting young, then and they have that responsibility, making their bed, leaving stuff a little bit. I mean, you don't have to be a clean freak indeed, but just leave it a little bit better once in a while. Then that's a big step to being organized as well. It's a big step on learning how to plan. You have more time in the day because you don't look for your car keys for hours. You have more time for self. You create so much more time for other people to do things that they love if you leave it the right way. So yes, absolutely. I mean, super, super great message. Yes.
And
Yes.
one other thing that I want to touch back on that we were talking about is, this Pollyanna type thing. A few years ago, I got a word that from a couple of people actually that, first eh, the to shift from princess energy to queen energy. And I was like, huh, what does that mean? Excuse me. And and really you see my crown, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I use it to do that. Let me grab water.
I'm with you.
And so I was like, okay, so I've always been, because of that, that optimistic, I feel like I've come across as I need, and then my take on my was always like, I need somebody else to do it. I need some help. I need, something along that line, and that I finally figured out was what she was calling princess energy.
Mm.
And I've heard it since then with some other people. But when this year, I decided that I'm removing the princess energy and I'm putting on the queen energy. On my very first When Women show, I actually put the crown on and I was like, it's time for me to grow up. I mean, I don't know, 69 years old, you think? But so
Well,
to go into the queen energy, which is, and my words this year besides completion were
I was just going to say regal. Yes.
regal and savor. And I don't want to be, it's not stiff. It's not, it's incredibly warm, but it's with a undercurrent of confidence, right? That I may not have had before. So I'm working still. I mean, that's a work in progress as well. And on that note, Ashley Torian, that we
Yes.
both know and love, she's got a
Yeah.
show called Ashley's
Heart
Heart
song.
Song.
Yeah.
And she has a retreat that I went to. And I would highly encourage anybody to get to go to this retreat because she helps you create your own heart song.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, I don't know, whatever. I was trying to do it, but it wasn't really setting in. And in the end, it set in and I got it. And I created, I'll just briefly, I created a meme around it, but it's, I put the queen thing there.
Wow.
So Charla's heart. So I made a big deal and I've actually edited it a couple of times. So it's a little, it's personal, but if you know that backstory about the queen energy and the princess energy, then it may not come across as what I think people might judge as arrogant or whatever. Who do you think you are as a queen?
Yeah.
But I would read it if it's really personal to me. And so maybe it will encourage somebody to start thinking about.
I would love for you if you want to share it. I would love that.
So Charla's heart song, you saw the crown meme on the top. As the queen, regal and poised, savoring every breath of life, I am joy and peace. With bold faith and confidence, so that I fulfill my purpose of radiating light and love and raising the vibration of the world. And so it is.
Beautiful, Charlotte. Thank you for sharing that. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. I hope it will encourage every woman and everybody all women listening, men maybe, to put on that crown and start describing
Who they
story,
are,
your
who
story, who
who
you
you
are.
are in your
Yes, yes,
core.
yes.
And then it becomes the driving force at night, as the queen, regal and poised,
Yes.
with bold faith and confidence and savoring every breath. It has become it was who I was, but it's now who I am,
Oh,
because I can speak it in a
yes, yes.
concise way.
It puts you
And
a little bit more in place of that poise and here I come and here I am.
I
Yes.
really didn't think I would ever share it, and this is the second time I have, so who
Love,
knows?
love, 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 love. No, and it's amazing that you share it. And anybody that I have learned, and I've worked on this for years, anybody that tells me that things might be just sometimes, who does she think she is, or what's a little arrogant, or there she is again with her everlasting happiness and peace. I don't need those people in my life, because they don't understand it. Yes, it's just not working for people that don't want to hear it, right? And others that are just loving these kind of ideas, I get encouraged by it, will write it for themselves, will totally understand where you're coming from and what you've done with your wisdom, your story, your knowledge, to come into that place of feeling really, really great. And that greatness with faith, two together is just awesomeness, awesomeness, awesomeness. I love it that you shared it. Thank you so much, love. Thank you so much. I kind of want to wrap it up with, again, just celebrating your book on November the 30th. It's coming out on Amazon, yes? So we can buy
We'll
this.
probably have, I'm sure it'll be in an ebook that we'll probably push out for free or 99 cents or something. So push it bestseller, since I have Beyond Publishing is my publisher, and I want to make sure. And by the way, so so that is that's next November 30th and then December 2nd. So I'm guessing back to back kind of birthday celebrations. And
amazing. Well, we're all
and I would love to be to enjoy the book.
We're all going to celebrate your birthday with you when we buy it in November, December, right? So buy it for somebody as a gift. Buy candy bear hugs, lots of them for somebody in their shoes. My little gifts will underneath the, in my shoes. That's kind of Dutch, right? That's kind of like the Dutch gift giving kind of thing that we do. Put it in somebody's boot, but in your sock. Yeah, in the sock. So it makes great gifts. So find Charla Anderson on charlaanderson.com on your website. There'll be all the news about the launches, the releases, where we can find your books, where we can buy your books, how we can buy it. And we can communicate with you through your website, charlaanderson.com. Also, find Charla, of course, on all the social media sites, and definitely Facebook, where you can follow her journey to the birthday, the big birthday, and all this wisdom every day that we're getting. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I love you so much. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being on the show today and sharing all your amazing nuggets of wisdom, all wisdom learned, right? I hardly earned and learned. Can we say it that way, as I say it by myself? Yeah. And sharing all that stuff. Yes.
And my website, you just reminded me, I'm just getting this thing together for the birthday, but it isn't on there. So go to, you can click on my Facebook on my website and go directly to my Facebook page, and that'll be where the most current stuff will be. And then involving on the website is ever evolving, as you know.
Yeah, ever evolving, always movement. Definitely find you on Facebook. Absolutely. Charla Anderson. Thank you so much for being on the show today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you all next week. Thank you for watching this episode of Allianz Joy. I hope you watched on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, or just today, the replay. We're going to post it as soon as possible. And I love all my viewers. Thank you so much for listening and watching. And thank you, Charla, for being my guest on the show today. Well, love you. Make it an amazing, fabulous, super amazing, awesome day.